Okay, good morning and welcome to Just Daf It, part of the Greater Yeshiva YouTube. We are nearing the conclusion of Masechus Kesubos. Today we're doing Daf Kuftet 109. We'll start from the bottom, the last line of Kuf Chet Amud Beis. Okay, Mishnah says on the bottom line, Aposik Mos L'Chosno. Someone, he promises money. We'll talk more about this in He promises exactly how is he obligated to pay the money. Aposik Mos L'Chosno. He tells his newly minted chassan, they got engaged. I'm giving you an apartment. I'm giving you 2 apartments. Pasha lo es haregel. And then he defaulted on his promise. So now the girl's waiting. She's engaged. She's not married. So the Mishnah says, Kuftet Amud Aleph on the top, 109. Rosha. She has to stay in the marriage until her hair grows white. There's no way for her out. Admon Omer, she does have a way. If I myself would have promised to give you money to my lovable chassan who's marrying me for my money, right? Then it's my fault. So I have to sit until my hair turns not only gray, white. Now my father, I thought my father was going to pay. It's not my fault. Either marry me or give me a divorce. Gamliel says, I like what Admon says over here. In fact, we do pass like Admon. She's out. She has a way out. The Gemara says, our mission does not follow the following Tanaic opinion, which is said in a Brisa, the Tanya. We learn in a Brisa, Amar Rav Yosef Yehuda, Lo nechliko Admon milchama al posik mos l'chasno pasha lo es haregel. They don't argue in a case where the father promised and he defaulted. Even the Chacham Marmoda, they agree. She can say, it's not my fault. Where's their machlokas? She herself, she had a big bank account. She promised her husband, I'll give you a big dowry. Chacham say it's her fault. She has to stay engaged to this guy until her hair goes white. Until she pays up. Admon said, no. You think I had the money in my bank account? I thought I'll promise to you my father will pay up. He's not paying for money. I can't afford to give you out of my own bank account. Either marry me or give me a bill of divorce. Gamliel says, I like what Admon is saying. Tana. Bryce says, our Mishnah is only talking about a Gdola, a girl who's over bat mitzvah, al-Ketana kofin. If she's a young girl, she got engaged, kofin, we forced them to do something. So the Gemara says, kofin laman, who do we force? We force the father to pay up, right? Ipchami boy, let's say the opposite. Let's say by a Gdola, by Gdola or Kofin, I'm going to say this more, it really doesn't make sense so much, because Aktana really is on the jurisdiction of the father. So really the Gemara should be saying by Aktana we force him to pay. The Gemara is saying the opposite. The Gemara is saying, right, we should say by the Gdola you should force him to pay. Like Aktana you shouldn't be forced to pay. It doesn't really make sense. I'm going to have to explain this line in with Ben Sion because it doesn't really make sense. I'll explain the difference between Eris and Kedushin. We're finishing with Kesubos, so I want to lay out one of my big fundamental Yesodos, foundations, in understanding Seder Nasha, and the difference between Eris and Kedushin. Oftentimes, most people say it's exactly the same thing. I beg to differ. I'll tell you the difference in Yom Ben Sion. So the Gemara says it should say the opposite. By the Gdola we force the father. By Tana we can't force the father. Alamarava, Kofin Labal Litain get. If it's by Aktana, we force the husband to give a get. She's a young girl. She's a minor. She has to have a way out. Anytime, we'll see, Admon is quoted in 7 times in the previous and following Mishnayos. So wherever Gamliel says, he said it 3 times. I agree with what Admon says. Halacha kamos, halacha follows Admon. I'm only Rav Nachman. I feel a rice, even in a rice. I'm only coming to a Mishnah that I say only in a Mishnah. But anytime Gamliel concurs with Admon, we paskin like him. Amar Rav Zera, Amar Rav Bar Yirmiyah. Shnei dvarim she'amar Chanan halacha chayotze bo. Shiva dvarim she'amar Admon ein halacha chayotze bo. The 2 times that Chanan paskin, right? We learned earlier in the parah, Chanan said something unique, right? And someone agreed with him, right? Rabbi Yochanan and Zakkai or some other Tana agreed with him. So the halacha follows that person who agree with him. Basically, the halacha is like Chanan. Shul Dvarim Shamar Admon. The 7 times that Admon commented in the Mishnah. Ein halacha Yoseba. The position, we don't take the position of the person who passes like him, which is usually Gamliel. So the Gemara tries to decipher what this statement means. Micah Amar, what are we saying? Ilay Mahachik Amar Shtei Dvarim Shamar Chanan halacha Kamosa Chayotze Bo. Halacha follows Chanan and the person who agreed with him. The Shiva Dvarim Shamar Admon Ein halacha Kamosa V'lo Chayotze Bo. When Admon stated the halacha does not fall like Admon in all 7 cases, nor like the one who concurred with him. Basically, they say the same thing. Amar Rabbi Yisrael ben Elazar, Mishmei de Chizkiah. We just said the name of Chizkiah. Kol makom shamar Gamliel roa and he's divrei Admon. Whenever Gamliel, he said this 3 times in the Mishnayos. I agree with Admon. Halacha kamosa. We do paskin like him. How can you say we don't paskin like Admon? El haki Amar. It must be saying the following: Shnei dvarim she'amar chan halacha kamosa v'chayotze bo. The halacha follows him and the person who agreed with him. Shnei dvarim she'amar Admon ein halacha chayotze bo. The halacha does not follow him. Does not follow the one who concurs with him. Hakamosa halacha. However, the halacha does follow him. Bechulahu. It follows him in all of them, right? Meaning, Gamliel only concurred with Admon in 3 out of the 7 instances. So, in those 3 times where we concur with him, we don't pass like Admon. The other 4 times we do pass like him. Amar Rabbi Yisrael ben Elazar, here the Chizkiah, Makom Shamar Gamliel, and Roani Yisivri Admon, Halacha Kamoso. Exactly, specifically the other 3 times where he concurred with Admon, then we do pass like him. Amar in, Amar lo. Right? When Gamliel said we pass like Admon, yes. We didn't say no. El Haki Amar. This is what it means to say. When Chanan commented on the Mishnah, we passed like him and the opinion that agreed with him. Sometimes the halacha follows him and the one who agreed with him, namely Gamliel, and sometimes the halacha doesn't follow him. It follows the one who, right? It only follows the one who can agree with him. Which means basically that in the 3 instances where Gamliel concurred with Admon, so then halacha follows Admon. When he didn't concur with Admon, didn't support what Admon said, then halacha does not follow Admon. The last 4 cases we'll see coming up in the following Mishnayos. So the Mishnah says, a man protests regarding a field, meaning he comes to base, he says, right, Reuven sold the field to Shimon, and Levi, a 3rd person, comes and says, Reuven stole that field from me, they sold to Shimon, right? And now he's coming to base and he's protesting and saying, Hu chasam Allah. And uniquely, this person who's complaining that he stole the field was one of the Eidim, right? The 2 Eidim that on the Shtar Mecher, right? The document that certifies that Reuven sold to Shimon. So Levi was a signee on this document. Be'ed, Admon Omer Hasheni Noach Levi Arishon Kashe Manu. Levi can say, there's a reason I signed on the document, because it's going to be easier for me to get the field out of Shimon's hands. He's not part of the mafia. Reuven's part of the mafia. It's hard to get out of his hands. The Chacham say, no. The fact that you signed on a document transferring ownership to another party shows that you probably do not have rights to this field. It wasn't actually stolen for you. However, if in the document Reuven selling it to Shimon, right, it's not exactly... he's selling a different field, Reuven to Shimon, but they mention Levi's field, Levi's supposed field, as a border to the field being sold, and he signs on that document. Levi signs on that document, and he claims that the original field was stolen from me. So then he's ibid as chuso. Then in that case, everyone agrees he lost his right to claim that the field was stolen. The Mishnah is only talking about the machlokas between Admon and the Chachamim is only talking about where he is a signature as a witness on the sale of the field. Al dayan lo. If he's one of dayanim, right, that authorizes the sale, the dayan, the judge comes before the judge, and the judge says it's a good sale. Lo we bet as chuz. Even the Chacham say he didn't lose his right to claim his field, the field as his own. The Tanya Rechiya, Eina Edom Chosman Ashtar Ken Karo. Edom do not have a right to sign on the star unless they actually read the star. Top of Kuf 10 Amud Beis 109b. Aval Dayan in Chosman Al Pishla Karo. However, the halach is a dayan could sign on a star mecher, even if they didn't read it. So therefore, it's possible for him to state, really, right, even though, right, I'm a dayan, I signed in it, but I didn't read what it said, so therefore I have every right to claim Reuven sold the field to Shimon. I didn't know Reuven was selling my field to Shimon, so therefore he has every right to come back and claim it was stolen from him. Also, similar la'acher. Amar Abaye, lo shano elo la'acher, aval asmo lo ibed es chuso. Right, he's only talking about where he signed on a document which used his field as a boundary when it was sold to a third party. Reuven sold it to Shimon, and Levi is saying it was stolen from him. But if the Reuven is selling to Levi, right, and he uses his field as a boundary in delineating what the sale exactly is, he didn't lose his right. Amar, right? If I didn't say that, yes, this field that I'm claiming as my own is a boundary to the field that you just bought, right? He wouldn't have sold me this field, so therefore I was compelled to say that this field, which really I'm claiming as mine, I used as a boundary, and I stated in the shtar, in the sale document, that it wasn't mine, but I had to say that because I wanted to be able to buy the other field. What are you going to say? Maybe I should just tell privately to other people when I'm buying it, yes, and I'm writing on the shtar the boundary of Reuven's field, which I'm claiming afterward is my field, is a boundary of the field that I'm buying, right? Just so later on I can come and say, I told Adam already that I'm only signing on the shtar, agreeing to the shtar, because I want to be able to buy the land, and I really don't agree that the bordering land belongs to Reuven. It really belongs to me. Chavra islay. People have friends. Chavra de chavra islay, and your friend's friend has another friend. So therefore, it'll come back to the ears of the seller, and he'll renege on the sale. He won't even sell me the other field. Someone did this. He signed on a shtar mecher, to somebody else, and he wrote his own field as the boundary in the field, asserting basically that the field didn't belong to him. The field that was a boundary didn't belong to him. Irer, he came back to Beis Din and he protested. He said that which field that I signed on, as stating that it was a boundary to this field that is being bought, basically asserting the field wasn't mine, v'shachim. And then before the Beis Din could rule, he died. V'okim apatrap. However, before he died, he appointed a guardian for his children. Apatrapos came after he died to Abai. Amar. So Abai said to him, the Psak Allah is our Mishnah, right? If you made it as a boundary, everyone agrees, even Admon agrees, you lost your rights to it. Amar. So the guardian said, he have a Cleveland guardian from Cleveland baseball team. Cleveland guardian said, Amar Yava Avun Diasmi Kayim. If the father of the son was here, I have a toyin. Amar tell him Echad Asisilach. Right? The father could have, right, you claim that no, it didn't belong to the fact that I I signed as a boundary to the field being sold, admitting basically it wasn't my field. Right? The father could have said, tell him Echad Asisilach. I only said the boundary, meaning the edge of the field, belongs to somebody else, but the rest of the field belonged to me. And I can go back and protest that. I'm really shaper Amar. Tobias said, you're saying very good. Amar b'yochanim tan Amar tell him echad asisilach. All I'm going to say is a boundary. The edge of the field is a boundary. That belongs to somebody else. Maybe the rest of the field belongs to me. Never mind, he's believed. Zil havle mias tell him echad. But I said, you're at least admitting that the edge of the field, one furrow at the edge of the field belongs to the other person. However, it's interesting to note in this case that the boundary of the field was very expensive land. It had a whole line, a slew of palm trees that were producing a lot of fruit. So the guardian continued, if the father is here, I have a time. Yes, I marked it as a boundary, stating it was other field. But then, after I signed as an aide, a witness on the transfer of the ownership of this field, I went and bought back this furrow. Again, Abaye said, you're saying good. Rabbi Yochanan also said, even if you signed on the field saying that the field belonged to somebody else, if you go back and say, I went back and bought it from him, you're believed. Abaye was very impressed by this guardian. He said, if you're going to appoint a guardian for your children's possessions they'll inherit for you, you should appoint someone as smart as this guy who knows how to make the correct claims in court. And be careful who you appoint as a guardian. I don't know if Jose Ramirez would be a good guardian. Maybe the best player on the Cleveland Guardians, who lost to the Yankees, or about to lose to the Astros. Mishnah says, Mishal Chalinas Hayam, he went over to see the Ida Derech Sadeu. Before he left, he had a path through someone else's field to get to his field, right? And someone else owned all the fields around his field. He had a path to get there. He comes back, he finds that his path is gone. Admon says he has a right to the field, so it's gone. So he can claim, I have a right, and he can claim, I get the best right possible. I can take the shortest possible route from the street to my field. The guy can charge $100,000 for his path. Oh, if you don't want to pay the price, you have to get to your field. You have to take a jet plane to get to your field, a helicopter to get to your field. My time with the Rabbanan. Gemara says, what's the reason for the Rabbanan? Shapar Kamar Admon, you had a path. You went overseas. The guy took your path away. So why can't I get my path back? I don't know where it was, but I get it back. Amar Rav Yehuda Marav Gon Shekifu Arba Bnei Adam Arba Ruchosea. We're talking about that there are 4 different people have fields on the 4 different boundaries, bordering your land. So they each can say, you go to one person and say, give me back my path to get to my field. They can say, it wasn't by me, but by the other guy. Everyone can push him away. So therefore, you can't get it. If that's the case, my time with the Admon, why would Admon say that he has a right to it? If 4 people bought the field from 4 people, right? There were 4 surrounding fields, and 4 people will now own it. And that person, or one person owned all the surrounding land, and then he sold it to 4 different people. Like it's true, like the Gemara says, you can push them off. You can't prove it to any other fields. One person, there were 4 surrounding fields, 4 different people owned it, and they sold it all 4 sold it to one person. He says, at the end of the day, you're one person. You can't say, I don't have a path to the field. I had a path to the field. You took it away from me. But I have one field, one path, so I can get the shortest one. If you're quiet and you pay the price that I'm going to charge you for the path, be quiet, I'll pay up. If you do not want to pay up, so I'll sell the fields back to the original 4 owners, and then you won't be able to get, he's blackmailing him, you won't be able to get a path because they each push you off. You're not going to be able to to procure this path from any of them. A certain man said, he was about to die, he said, I'm giving a palm tree to my daughter. And then he died. The Yisomim came, like we learned in the previous Mishnah, when you have a big estate, only the boys inherit. They divide up the inheritance. They didn't give her a palm tree. People get very adamant when it comes to money. You don't want to give her one palm tree. She couldn't even shake lulav. That's our Mishnah, right? That's exactly what our Mishnah is saying over here, right? Because now multiple people own the Yerusha. They can each push her off, right? And say, no, go to the other person. She can't claim the palm tree for anything. You can't compare the case. By the 4 fields, they can say, go to the other person. Even when they split the Yerusha, right? It's really one Yerusha. At the end of the day, they're just splitting into 4 different parts. She got her part before the Yerusha happened, when the father was still alive. So therefore, you have to go back to the Shas Ptira, the father, before they were cholek the Yerusha, and at that time belonged to all of them. So therefore, she has a right to the Yerusha, which is a preceding claim, and she can collect from. They have to agree, make up shara between them, and give her the tree. Ma'itakantayu. So how do they fix it? So now, right, who should give the dikla? So the Gemara advises, give her a palm tree, and then go and redivide the estate. Another person said, I'm giving a palm tree to my daughter. Apparently this is a nice parting gift. If you're dying, give a palm tree to your daughter. Shachiv, he died. Vishavik trei pagi the dikla. He left over numerous whole palm trees and 2 half palm trees. Rashi wasn't sure. Mikar inchi the trei pagi dikli dikla. Can the Yisomim, right? The orphans, the boys, give her, instead of a whole palm tree, give her 2 halves of a palm tree. The people call 2 halves of a palm tree a whole palm tree. Oh, look. Amalei Rav Mordechai Rav Ashi Hachi Amar Avimi Mehagrunya Avimi Mehagrunya. I guess Hungary. I don't know. Mishmei the Rava. They already said Karu Inshil Trei Pagi Dikli Dikla. Yes, the common way of referring to a palm tree, even if it's two halves of a palm tree, you would still call it together. You call it one palm tree, so they have the right to give her the two halves of the palm tree and don't have to give her a full palm tree. That's the conclusion of today's share. Stay tuned for a very fundamental Ian with Ben Sion. We're going to talk whether it's in Erisin and Kedushin coming up next.